Well, hello there, YouTube. Welcome back to part 8 of Dragon Age Origins with a Therapist, where we've got some werewolf hunting to do, huh? I really appreciate, as always, you taking the time to watch these streams. Thank you for supporting my channel. I have enjoyed very much reading comments up until this part. And I will continue to enjoy reading the comments, even if I don't respond to them. Make sure, as always, you leave a like on this stream. Hit the little thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you don't already. Follow me on the links in the description. Discord is where I announce when I'm going live and stuff like that. I'd love to have you join us over on Twitch, 9:30 p.m. Even if you just stop by and say hi and that you like the YouTube videos. I love when people do that. So, thank you all so much for following this playthrough and making it this far. I hope part 8 tickles thine fancy. Let's go. Alistair, what do you think? Okay. Alright, we got a couple statues to read. Looks like we got some side quests. We got some exploring of the camp. And after we explore the camp, we'll go deal with the werewolf problem.
How do they move these things through the forest? Do the trees just get out of their way, or what?
It's actually a really good question, Alistair. I have no idea. Let's see. Andruil.
Going.
Indruil, a goddess of the hunt. Hear me, sons and daughters of the people. I am sister of the moon, mother of hares, lady of the hunt. Andruil. Remember my teachings. Remember the Vir Tanadal, the way of 3 trees that I have given you. Virasan, the way of the arrow. Be swift and silent, strike true. Do not waver and let not your prey suffer. That is my way. Vir Borasan, the way of the bow. As the sapling bends, so must you. In yielding find resilience, in pliancy find strength. That is my way. Vir Adelin, the way of the wood. Receive the gifts of the hunt with mindfulness. Respect the sacrifice of my children. Know that your passing shall nourish them in turn. That is my way. Remember the ways the hunter and I shall be with you. From the charge of Andruil, goddess of the hunt. Neat. Alrighty. Let's go loot their shit, because apparently they're gonna let me do that.
Please leave that be. If you have need of equipment, I am sure Master Verathorn can help you.
Oh, okay, Ashley. I mean, whatever your name is. Zathrian said that I could have what's inside this chest. I actually don't remember if he said that's true, but...
Please do not lie to me. I find it most unbecoming.
Ooh. Oh boy.
Underanitation, Grey Warden. My name is Lanaya. I am Zathrian's first, what you might call an apprentice, perhaps. I've been studying under the Keeper all my life. I am a bit curious of the outside world. Do you mind if I ask you a question or two?
I could be a total shithead here. You just asked me a question right there. In all seriousness, I don't generally recommend being like antagonistic or super jokey with a person up front. It doesn't really do well to build rapport, and given the fact that we just lied to her, literally lied to her face, I don't know that that's a great idea. So me saying like, just ask me a question right there, it makes me look like an asshole. Like you don't really need to do that. Once you get some rapport with people, if there was Alistair that asked me that, I might have a little fun with it. Not this lady. Especially because I'm still a foreign agent relative to the Dalish. Like, even though I'm an elf, I don't have that much karma in the bank by being an elf. So yeah, do I look like I'm here to entertain you? Right? Like, if you like, yeah, go ahead, ask me questions. I mean, I'm going to ask you questions.
I hear the human cities are very large, thousands upon thousands of souls all packed together in their houses. Is that true?
I am surprised that 2 out of the 3 dialogue options here are antagonistic. It's very odd to me. Like, why? I ask so many questions. Why would I be... Okay. It's not analysis there. It's more just kind of me commenting on, like, the way that the game frames this. Like, it's very interesting to me that, like, 2 out of these 3 are antagonistic answers. Why don't you go see City for yourself? That's very presumptive of me that she could just do that. Are you saying you can't imagine such a thing? What? I mean, Jesus. Yeah, there are some that are larger than the eye can see.
How very loud that must be with everyone talking all at once. I try to imagine those of our people living in such a place, surrounded by walls of stone and indifference. It is a difficult thought.
Okay, so this is actually really cool. And I want to use this as a chance to kind of talk about how to respond to people when they are asking questions that are genuinely based from curiosity. She just wants to learn. She wants to know more about something that she doesn't understand, presumably because she hasn't been to a human city. She recognizes that I'm a city elf. It's an opportunity to learn a little bit about me and to learn a little bit about... She's not even learning really about me. She's asking about something that I may have knowledge on. I love the idea of rewarding curiosity for people. When people ask questions that are curiosity-based because they want to learn, it's a rich opportunity to expand a person's internalized representation of certain things. So when she's asking these questions, the way that you can reward these is by giving nice responses, by appreciating the questions. If you don't have time, that's okay. You can set a boundary and say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't have time to answer these right now. But ultimately, I really like the idea of rewarding people's curiosity because it facilitates deep conversation. It facilitates some emerging intimacy, regardless of the status of the relationship. And I just think it's genuinely good for mutual understanding, diversified representation, and stuff like that. So I really want to reward her questioning by being genuine in my answers rather than antagonistic to her. Or the big mistake that people make is treating her like she's stupid for asking these questions, as if she should just know everything there is to know about everything that I know. That's a terrible presumption to make for people. Like, she's trying to understand, like, expand her understanding of the world. We could all do well to want to do that. So I want to reward that. All right. It is a difficult thought. They are used to it, just as the humans are. It's not an easy life for them. That's true. I think that is honest. Yeah.
What about you? What was life like amongst the humans?
Life I had was ruined by a human nobleman. It was not easy. Little has changed. It was not as terrible as you might think. I would rather not speak of it. It wasn't easy. I don't know that I need to go into too many specifics. It wasn't easy.
I'm not surprised. The Keeper teaches us that humans have little regard for history, and less for the consequences of their actions. It is said that one day we will have a land of our own. We Dalish gather the ancient wisdom in preparation for this. When that day comes, all elves, even those who have forgotten, will reclaim their former glory. I have one more question, though I'm not sure you can answer it. Do the humans ever regret what they did to us?
So this is pretty interesting because something that often happens when groups are taught about other groups that they are not a part of, in this case elves learning about humans, the natural tendency in those educational moments or whatever is to have a very generalized myopic view, right? So she's talking about humans as this like overgeneralized group that are all the same with the same convictions. And we know that that's not true. In the same way that the Dalish have general customs, but also have individuals within that group with their own convictions and their own nuance, humans are the same way. City elves are the same way. The dwarves are the same way. Because it's hard to capture the entirety of nuance for all the different groups that exist in the world, the generalization makes sense from our brain's perspective in terms of like categorizing and creating a schema and operating off of that. But this would be a really good opportunity to an extent for us to say to her, you know, in the same way that there's a lot of diversity within the Dalish elves, it's the same for humans. It's the same for city elves. Some have it better, some have it worse. Some humans are total assholes. Some humans are cool. Some city elves lie about whether they can get into a chest. Others are more noble and honest. There's a lot of diversity here. And I, as a city elf, am not really comfortable speaking on behalf of humans because I don't really represent them. But that is something that people who are from a marginalized group or an outside group, when they're in a context where they are like kind of the only person, there's a tendency sometimes for the bigger group to see that person as somebody who is a representative of all people of that group. And we want to make sure that we stay away from that. So I am not a representative of all city elves. In the same way that Alistair is not a speaker of all humanity. And staying away from those generalizations can be frustrating because we might say, like, it depends, there's a lot of diversity, but those are the better conversations for us to have because the more nuanced our representations are internally, the more sophisticated our interactions are, and I really think the more patience we have for each other. So, a bit of a long diatribe, but it's an important point relative to how she's asking these questions. Do humans ever regret what they did to us? I have no idea. I think some of them do. Not all humans are the same. That, I think, is the best answer that I can give.
And yet, even if some regret, they do nothing. A poet once wrote of them, before the fall of the Dales. Like dragons they fly, glory upon wings. Like dragons, they savage, fearsome, pretty things. But you don't need me to quote poetry to you. Forgive me. Perhaps you have some questions of your own.
Oh man, this is a really interesting interaction. Some have regrets, yet they do nothing. That is a, I think, very oversimplistic, misguided view of the complexity of human systems. There are plenty of humans, I'm sure, that would love to do something, but are ultimately not in a position to be able to bear any influence. Or at least any widespread influence that's going to make it all the way back to the Dalish. Right? Like, there may be humans in Denerim, for example, that do advocate for elves, that do treat them well, that do hold some of their fellow humans accountable. But because it doesn't create wider systemic change, it's not going to have a ripple effect outside the walls of Denerim or even outside the walls of the home that it happens in. This is where the discussion of nuance is so important, because if she views all humans as not being willing to do something, it's going to further polarize her against people who very well could be her ally. And it could be vice versa as well. I mean, humans could very much do the same thing about the Dalish. And this is where we start to get these, like, intergroup, like, wars, because people are not willing to look at the actual systems that they're embedded in. The reality is, the humans in power are not doing anything, but they also, as we learned, didn't know. The king, literally, when we met the king was like, what? It's bad for city elves? Huh? I've got to look into that. And he's really the guy that could make a difference as it relates to that. So maybe if the king put in some ordinances that were different for how people were to deal with city elves, and there were real punishments for how they would hurt them, then at that point, the Dalish elves hear about it and go, wow, the humans are doing something about human-elf interactions. And that really just came down to the fact that the king, as a person who represents humans from like a position of power, did something. So it's more indicative of like people in positions of power in the humans aren't doing much. But that doesn't mean that humans on the ground aren't doing much. And these conversations get really deep, but that's where we got to go. Alrighty. So my questions. Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
I'm hardly anyone special, I assure you. If I seem different from the rest of my clan, it's only because I was born amongst humans. Not too different from you, I imagine.
Oh.
I came to the Dalish at a very young age, but I've always retained my curiosity about the world I came from.
How did you come to the Dalish if you were so young?
My parents were servants to a human merchant whose caravans plied the southern routes. One day, bandits killed him, and my parents both. I was the only survivor, just a young girl, and the bandits took me. I was their servant for several years.
You sound very matter-of-fact about that. I don't want to put a value judgment on that, right? If I say I'm sorry, it must have been horrible, that's coming a little bit from my own projections, my own assumptions about her experience based on my own experience. You know, how bad could it be? At least you weren't dead. At least statements are basically never useful. When you say at least, you're usually about to invalidate somebody. You're providing an unwanted reframe. I'm not a huge fan of using the word at least to start a sentence. So I'm going to just make an observation that you sound very matter-of-fact about it. That is more of a neutral way of approaching this without me injecting my own values into this conversation based on what she just said.
Do I? It's taken many years of reflection to come to terms with it, to forgive what those men did to me. I can only imagine what would have happened had the clan not saved me from them. I owe them my life for that, and more.
Uku Bananas, thank you for the sub. And Clipper, thank you for the 1 year, friend. I appreciate that very much. Alright. You said that they rescued you from bandits?
The bandits killed a scout when the clan passed near their camp. When the clan discovered him, Zathrian came looking for his killers. He followed their tracks for almost a month, and when he finally caught up to us, he fell on the bandits like a terror. No one could stop him. I sat there and I watched him attack them in a blur, and I reveled in every blow. When he saw me, the fury in his eyes turned to pity. He took me back to the clan, and I've been here ever since.
Didn't you have family you could have returned to? I mean, that's not a terrible question. It's a little weird, though.
It's possible I might have had some, maybe many. Zathrian offered to take me back, but I had no idea where I was from, and I wanted to stay with the man who rescued me. The clan is my family. Any others out there? It's best they believe that little girl died with her parents. For now, the clan is all I need. My old world could not have offered me all this, and the knowledge of a keeper as well. Perhaps one day, when I am keeper, I might inquire out of curiosity. I'm not sure what lies down that road except pain, however.
Fair enough. How'd you become a keeper?
I am not a keeper. I am Zathrian's first. Though because I was not born into the clan, becoming his first was very difficult. We Dalish have old traditions. The clans come from the ranks of the nobility that once ruled the Dales, you see. The keepers of those old clans have the strongest and purest blood that reaches back to the days of Arlathan. I had to compete against the other candidates for first, to be better than them in everything, simply because I was not of the old blood.
What did Zathrian think of that?
He was proud of me. I've always thought of him as a father in a way, and he could not hide his pleasure when I became his first. The clan has placed great trust in me. One day, I will lead them and be the one who secures our future.
Cool. What does a keeper do exactly?
A keeper is, first and foremost, the leader of the clan. He decides where we go and when we shall move. He's also responsible for knowing the clan's ancient lore and passing it on to the others in the clan. Without a keeper, the clan's knowledge is lost forever, so the clan protects him like no other.
Okay. What can you tell me about Zathrian?
Nothing that you could not ask Zathrian himself. He is the keeper of this clan and has been for a very long time. He is also a very good man who has lost much. The Dalish are everything to him, and he would do anything to protect them.
Boy, I mean, I suppose this is an innocent enough question. I would say that it's more on Zathrian to tell me this. But I also don't want to make the assumption necessarily that she can't talk about it, because she let on that he has lost stuff. So this question, I think, is weird to look at because it has the persuade thing on it. But I'm going to kind of imagine that it doesn't. I think asking this question is okay, but I am going to be mindful of if she sets a boundary. Like, if she says, if you want to know more about what he's lost, you should hear it from him directly. That's a totally fair boundary to share.
He lost his family a very long time ago. I don't know the story, but I understand the circumstances were horrific.
Damn. I'm going to try this one more time just to see if there's more to learn about her.
I'm hardly anyone special, I assure you. If I seem different from the rest of my clan, it's only because I came to the Dalish at a very young age.
All right.
As you wish. Darth Shirel.
I'm not going to ask the question, why are the Dalish so hostile? It's a very loaded and dumb question because it requires her to essentially like agree that that's the case in order to answer the question. I'd be better off being like, my perception of the Dalish is that they're not too nice. Or to make more of an observation, like they seem to be very boundaried. Is there a reason for that? But to say like they seem hostile is for me to just basically throw a value judgment at her and then tell her to accept it and answer it as if it's truth. And I don't see much utility to that. The cool little shop thing here. Pile of sacks. What's in these sacks? Some Dalish boots, eh? Take those Dalish boots. Elf girl.
Andaran Atishan, outsider.
Who are you?
I am Gaina. Is there something you need from me?
You answer some questions?
I am not sure what I can tell you, but I shall try.
Cool. I want to know a little bit more about your people.
You should speak to Lanaya. She's the Keeper's first and knows much of such questions.
Okay, already did, but thank you. Tell me about the forest.
You would be best to speak to Seyrel. He is our storyteller and knows far more of such tales.
Okay. What can you tell me about Zathrian?
Zathrian?
Oh, cool. She'll answer
He has
this
been
one.
our keeper since long before my parents' parents were born. What could you wish to know about him?
Let you tell me here in your words what's a keeper.
He keeps us safe, and he keeps the knowledge of our people safe, so we may bring it to all of our people one day.
What knowledge is that exactly?
The ways of our ancestors, of course, from the time of our Lathan, before the human empire enslaved our people.
Where does he get all this knowledge?
From the other clans, and from the artifacts we uncover in our travels. Everywhere the old empire was, so went their slaves. Pieces of our past lie everywhere.
Bring it to all of... What did you mean by bring it to all of your people?
To your people. When there is a new homeland for us all to settle in, the Dalish shall teach your people what they have forgotten.
Oh. I see. Now, I could be very angry in this moment that she just you-peopled me. But I am not going to be angry about that. Well, I'm not going to respond to that anger in a way that's aggressive toward her, is how I should say that. She is saying what she has heard and what has been represented to her. And they do see us as separate. They do see city elves as separate from themselves. And it sounds to me like a bit of their value judgment toward us is that we have forgotten things that make us elven or that are important. And it's their duty to remind us of what those things are. There's a bit of a pejorative vibe to that. that you are subordinate to our ability to teach you the ways. But that separation, I think, makes sense, because the Dalish very much have their own group identity, and so do City Elves. And I think it's very easy for the Dalish to potentially see City Elves as less than. It tends to be what we do. We tend to prioritize our groups, and then we see others relative to our own. So, again, it's like one of those moments where, like, I could get pissed off and I could get aggressive and be like, what do you mean, you people? And also, I don't think that what she just said comes from a place of hostility. I think it comes from a place of, like, just, that's what she's been taught. Could I use it as an opportunity to be like, hey, I don't know that I like the idea of you creating a separation of us. Sure, but there is also a separation between us, whether we like it or not. I got another question about Zathrian. Also, Zwara, we haven't done much with the Kunari yet, so you just gotta wait till we get to that point.
Yes.
How old is Zathrian?
I don't know. Very old. It is said that Zathrian may be one of the first to become as our ancestors were long ago, immortal.
Oh. Why does he get to have that?
We all live longer than the Flat Ears, the elves who live with humans. The Keepers even more so because of their knowledge of the old ways. Why Zathrian differs from the others, I do not know. Perhaps he has been blessed by the creators.
Yeah, now, we just met, but I'm going to challenge your faith. No. I want to know something else.
What is that?
You got any equipment?
Master Verathorn should have what you need. Seek him out at the forge.
Okay.
Then may the creators bring you fortune.
She calls humans flat ears. I think that actually makes sense. Humans are the dominant group, so, you know, I'm sure a human hears flat ears and they want to get all offended by it, you know, fine, but I'm guessing flat ears is not really a term that's used to actually oppress humans, so unless she's referring to us... Oh, unless she's calling city elves that, which... if that's the case, that's a bit interesting. Again, there's some othering here. They have... she calls city elves flat ears. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, that's interesting then. Because it is a way of objectifying another group of people. If I was to create a theory with the limited knowledge I have about the dynamics between Dalish and City Elves, it would probably be that the Dalish have separated themselves from City Elves emotionally by objectifying them and potentially even blaming them for their circumstances. Which would be an idea that could perpetuate this notion that the Dalish are strong and independent, and that if you're a city elf that is basically oppressed by humans and in the position you are, you're there because you asked for it, or you're there because you're just not strong enough to stick with the Dalish, or because you don't understand the other ways. And so it's this way to kind of like not have to attend to the empathy they might have for the fact that this could also be them. And I think it's also a result of the fact that the Dalish don't have an actually good understanding of the city elf experience. We're not there because we want to be. Sure, the humans freed us from slavery, and they gave us autonomy, but they also created so many restrictions that it's almost impossible for city elves to change their circumstances. So there is a bit of this, I think, separation that they created so that they can maintain their own autonomy as a group, their own sense of strength, and then they other city elves as a way to create some of that emotional separation, which happens in real life in human groups. But yeah, you basically use one defining feature of them to create a generalization.
Huh.
It's really, I mean, this is like the really interesting intergroup dynamic stuff that we're learning by being here, which I really like and is really complex, because one of the things that's hard from an analysis standpoint is that I don't have all the context in history. But that's the important piece of this, right? That, like, because we don't have access to all the history, we don't know exactly how all of these things came to be. So that's, and then history itself is only written by certain groups. So you get very slanted stories about what happened in history and where certain blame is sent. And I mean, all this stuff, man, like, this is the real complexity. And if we start to view all of these groups over in an overgeneralized sense, this is where we cause problems. Because when people are overgeneralized, what they do is they fight for nuance. And those fights for nuance can sometimes cause a lot of intergroup fighting that really doesn't benefit anybody except for those who are dominating all of the groups as like the main group. In this case, it would be humans. Right? Get the elves hating each other, and then they don't all have to worry about being mad at humans. That kind of thing. It also shows that the Dalish have a sort of savior going on about city elves having to serve the poor, clueless, lost ones. Yeah. Or having to save them. Yeah. It's really fascinating stuff. And it's actually kind of cool being a city elf here and going through this camp and having these conversations. Kamen. What's up, buddy?
Hello?
Hello? Hello yourself. Who are you?
I am Kamen, a hunter apprentice. Though I wish I could become a real hunter.
So be one and stop wishing for it, Jesus. Why can't you?
I shouldn't be talking about this to an outsider. You wouldn't understand.
Try me. I might surprise you.
I suppose there's no harm in it. It's not like you can help me. I've been an apprentice for too long. To become a true hunter, I must bring back the pelt of a beast I killed myself. A boar or a wolf or something.
Yeah?
I wanted to hunt in the forest, but we're forbidden to enter because of the attack. But the real problem is Gaina.
Where you going, buddy? Oh. Oh. Yeah? You mean that lovely lady over by the fire that I just talked to that deferred every question to somebody else?
She's my heart's desire. I have asked for her hand, but she cruelly refuses it. She will not bond with an apprentice, she says, and calls me a child. I am no child. If I was a hunter, I could prove it, but I cannot hunt, and Gaina will never bond with me. I feel so helpless. I shouldn't have brought it up. Just leave me to my misery.
Bring it in. You, nor anybody else, my friend, are entitled to the to having your love and adoration reciprocated. No human is entitled to another human romantically. Whatever her reasons are for not wanting to be in a relationship with him are good enough reasons. She has said to him, I do not consent to being in a relationship with you that extends past the boundaries of acquaintance. When he uses the word cruelly denies my hand, he is blaming her for setting totally healthy and reasonable boundaries. And is doing it as a way to potentially distance himself from qualities or insecurities that he has that have led to him not securing her adoration. But my friend, you are not entitled to her being interested in you back. You are, in fact, supposed to respond to her boundaries in kind and respect them. So it's okay if you've got interest in her, but if she doesn't reciprocate that interest and sets boundaries, you gotta follow it, buddy. Nobody is entitled to having their adoration for somebody reciprocated. this young man included. If she says, hey, I'm not going to date an apprentice, and has any other reasons, it's good enough reasons. So, yeah, sorry, but that sucks. I can empathize with how much that sucks to be in love with somebody and they don't love you back. But,
I don't think there's anything I can tell you. My clanmates in the camp would be better at that.
okay. Yeah, I mean, okay. I'm not going to go hunt a bear for you and bring back a pelt so you can say that you did it. I'm not going to do that. That means I miss out on a quest. It means I miss out on a quest. But I'm not going to go get a bear pelt so that this guy can then go to his superior, say, look what I killed, and then go tell her that he's now a master hunter when he didn't do the work. Ultimately, my guy has to do the work. I'm not going to enable that kind of behavior. No, sir. So I'm going to leave this little exclamation point hanging out right here. This is one of the moments in my Dragon Age playthrough now where boundaries are important. And if it means we miss out on a question, fine. But I'm not about to go do that and then have this lady fall for him, whether she will or not, I have no idea, under false pretenses. No way I triangulate myself into that. That feels coercive to her, and it feels like I am complicit in violating her boundaries, and I'm not going to do that. Why can't we invite this guy along on our werewolf hunt? There we go, yeah.
Anathara, Grey Warden.
We few wanderers greet you, friend. We do not see many of our city brethren here in the woods. Would you help us break our fast?
Sure. Why not?
Come then and sit. Join us by the fire. I am Cyril, the clan's tale-teller. I understand you are venturing into the haunted forest to save our hunters. I suspect your efforts may be in vain. An entire group of our hunters went into the forest to do as you intend, and they have not returned.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, dude. Yeah, Keeper mentioned that.
Then you are very brave to adventure into such a place, even knowing the danger that awaits. Your courage impresses us greatly.
Ah! Your attitude's getting annoying. That's actually, is he being sarcastic? Look, man, I haven't done anything to deserve this, have I?
Perhaps you do not. But you are an outsider, and that we must rely on your largesse is a bitter pill for us to swallow.
You
Not
are
my
being
problem.
most unkind, Cyril.
Yeah.
Would you refuse our hunter's help simply because of the hand that offered it?
You shame me, Lethalan. I have allowed my bitterness to cloud my better judgment. Forgive me, Grey Warden. It is most difficult to forget the lessons the Shemlin have taught us.
It is even more difficult when you live amongst them, trust me.
Perhaps I can yet make amends. Stay while I spin a tale for our children. And then I will tell you of the forest if you desire.
Sure thing. Let's do it. Because I'm gonna take the high road, big dog.
Come and join us then, all of you. Now, what say we tell the story of the fall of the Dales? Which of you children knows that best?
I think I do.
Yes? Then come, child. Oh, don't be frightened of the outsiders. Now, where do you suppose such a tale should begin?
When we were slaves?
Yes. Long ago, our people were slaves to an empire the Shemlin had built on the darkest magic. They took away our history and our language and left us nothing. And then that empire fell, and we were freed.
Because Andraste came with her army, and Shartan joined her.
Yes. Andraste, the Shemlin prophet, came out of the south and challenged the Tevinter Imperium. Our ancestor, Shartan, fought at her side. And when the rebellion came to an end, we were given a new homeland in the West, the Dales. We began to rebuild the culture and history we had lost in our years of slavery. We worshipped the creators and made the Dales our home. Perhaps you know what happened next, stranger. Do you know what happened to the Dales?
Before I answer that question, there is a very interesting comment that has been made a couple times that stands out to me. That is a language thing, but plays a larger role than we might think. When he says that they were freed, the attribution of who freed them is a very important thing. In this case, we're not I don't think we're talking about humans freeing them, but if we were, when people use language like, oh, like we were slaves and then the people that enslaved us freed us, as if that is something to be like lauded and commended, is ridiculous, because we shouldn't have been enslaved in the first place. Like, I'm not generally a huge fan of like giving people credit for things that they shouldn't have to have even done in the first place because the pretense for it was bad. It's a little bit of a tangent, but it's always interesting when I hear that language when people talk like, oh, we were freed, or we were let go, or we were spared, or whatever. It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have been held captive in the first place by people. Let's not play this up as if they're awesome for deciding not to have you enslaved anymore. Okay, perhaps you know what happened next, stranger. You know what happened to the Dales. No, I really couldn't say.
Could not say, or will not. What do you say, child? Can you tell us what happened to the Dales?
The Shemlin wouldn't let us be.
Indeed. They resented that we would not worship their maker, and they resented our ways because they were so different from their own. The Shemlin nations grew cold towards the Dales. They called us blasphemers and tyrants, and declared war upon us. A great crusade.
It's a war we started, I'm told. I don't know that I like any of these. Like, I would be, if this was me, I'd be like, go on. Like, not every human felt that way, I'm sure.
And which is worse? The actions of those who believed they were right, or the inaction of those who knew they were wrong? Oh, I am certain we played a part in our downfall. We believed that the Shemlin would not revoke their prophet's gift so lightly. We were wrong. They took our lands, forcing us to abandon our gods and live as beggars in Shemlin cities. But there were those of us who refused to abandon our ways. They emblazoned the symbols of the creators upon their flesh and vowed to keep their ancient lore alive.
That's us. That's the Dalish.
Whoa.
Indeed, child. We chose to wander, homeless, rather than be ruled by the Shemlin.
Oh, no,
And
no.
all our clans wander alone until the day we have a homeland once more.
No.
Then we bring the old ways back to our people, because they have forgotten it all.
For we are the Dalish,
Oh, no,
the
no.
keepers of the lost law.
Nope.
The walkers of the lonely path.
We are the Elvenan, and never again shall we submit.
Oh, boy.
And that is the tale of the Dales, stranger. Thank you for allowing us to tell it to you.
Kind of wish you hadn't, because that's very victim-blamey. What? We wouldn't dare allow our weak asses to get enslaved like your weak asses. You real sucker city elves, you. Yikes. Oh my god. We got taken as slaves. And instead of blaming humans, they blame our weakness. Maybe you guys should have been stronger. You could have been like us. Could have gone nomadic in the forest. We didn't allow ourselves to be taken for slaves. As if city elves were like, please, humans, cuff us, please. Take us away to your cities. Throw us in the slums. Wow. Now, as I always try to do in these moments, I try to figure out, how do we empathize with this? Like, where do we find our way into a space of empathy as it relates to something like that? And what comes to mind for me is that the Dalish are scared of humans because they watched humans take elves into slavery. It's a terrifying thing. They literally had to go on the run. Well, sometimes, as we've talked about in other playthroughs, when people are up against what they perceive to be an unstoppable force or an immovable object, in this case humans, they will divert accountability elsewhere. So, because if they acknowledge that the humans are an unstoppable force that are capable of enslaving the elves, that's going to jack their fear. Oh my God, that could be us. And nobody likes to live that way. So what they've essentially done is said, this didn't happen because the humans were powerful. It happened because those other elves were weak. So then they other them, they judge them, and what that allows them to do is maintain a sense of power and autonomy relative to humans. So we may not be as strong as humans, but we're certainly better than those weak elves that allowed them to take them as slaves. That's a really problematic narrative, man. But it allows the Dalish to save their sense of power and autonomy, as limited as it is, in the world that they live in. And now we have, and the worst part about this, chat, is it works to the benefit of the humans. Because now you have the Dalish and the city elves fighting. They don't like each other. Perfect. Let's let the middle class, so to speak, just beat the shit out of the poor. Because if the elves unite, and the Dalish and the city elves go, hey, maybe these humans aren't very cool, and they split us up, and they enslaved us, and they rise up, maybe there is some force that they could exert on the humans. But for as long as they don't unite and are split into factions, they're not going to fight upward. They're not going to push upward. And that, it's not by design necessarily by the humans, but it is to their benefit. And this is how wider, more powerful systemic dynamics happen. I mean, that's the part of that story that stands out to me. We refuse to allow ourselves to be enslaved. As if humans didn't show up with guns and magic and all sorts of shit in order to say, like, no, come do our bidding. Thank you for allowing us to tell it to you. That sounded more like a sermon. Perhaps you'll allow me to tell a story as well? Oh, this is really tricky because... And here's the problem, right? Like, in my effort to try to educate this guy and unite, I have to shut his story down. And if this guy gets defensive about that and sees me as this shitty city elf that doesn't understand the ways of the world, which seems to be the Dalish MO, it's going to continue to sow seeds of discord here. Like, this is a really interesting space to be in, because if I'm like, can I tell you a story? And be like, yo, that's not exactly how it went down. People get really defensive. I mean, we're seeing this happen in real life right now. With a lot of stuff. Oh, man. Yeah, that's exactly the vibes. Sawed off. Perhaps you'll allow me to tell a story as well.
Perhaps another time. You are the guest here, and one who may yet prove of great help to our ailing hunters.
Fine.
Now, as I said I would, I can tell you what I know of the Brazilian forest. Do you wish to hear it?
Hit me up, dog.
Our legends say that before the Shemlin came, the Brazilian forest was a place of our ancestors that predated even our oldest homeland. The people of the Imperium came here and gave the forest its name. If they found traces of our ancestors, we cannot say. If they did, those elves were slain or enslaved. We know only that a great many battles were fought here. These trees grow upon the graves of those who fell, Shemlin and elves both.
Okay, go on.
So much death in one place tore the veil into the beyond. The Shemlin know the beyond as the Fade, the place of dreams and spirits. When the veil is torn, spirits pass into our world freely. The legends say that one great spirit possessed the wolf that became Witherfang, who passed its curse of rage onto men and created werewolves.
Witherfang still exists today?
So Zathrian insists. He says that Witherfang does not age as the werewolves do. Witherfang is as much spirit as it is beast, and thus it is immortal. Perhaps it cannot even be slain. At the very least, it is old and powerful, much as Zathrian himself.
Are there a ton of spirits in the forest, or what?
The forest is said to be haunted. Spirits possess the trees, the wolves, even the bodies of the dead. They yearn for true life, you see.
Okay, there were battles in there?
Who can say what value the Imperium placed on this land? And how many elves died here, in slavery? Even the barbarians, who came to overthrow the Imperium, fought and died on this soil.
How many werewolves are there?
No one knows. When the Shemlin lived in these parts, the curse would spread anew to a few of them with each passing year. They would run off into the forest, never to be seen again. Eventually, all the Shemlin left. One assumes the werewolves survive by passing their curse to their offspring. They have had no new blood. Until now, that is.
Okay, have the hunters also become werewolves?
It is said that one or two have turned already, though the Keeper denies it. As for the rest, they will either die or turn, unless they are killed out of mercy. I would rather die than become a ravening, soulless beast. Wouldn't you?
I'm not going to answer that question.
One last warning. The forest is like a thing alive. It changes as it wills, closing paths behind you and opening up new ones. Too many have become lost within, unable to find their way out. Were I you, I would endeavor not to make the forest my enemy.
Okie dokie, that's interesting. The Dales. Many forget that when Holy Andraste called out to the oppressed peoples to rise up, it was the elves who answered her first. The humblest slaves of the Imperium became her vanguard, and when victory came, they were rewarded accordingly. They were given a land in what is now south of Orlais called the Dales. A great exodus of elves undertook the journey to their new home, crossing ocean, desert, and mountain. Their city, the first elven city since the fabled Arlathan, was called Halemshiral. A new era had begun for the elves. But the old era wasn't through with them. In their forest city, the elves turned again to worship their silent ancient gods. They became increasingly isolationist, posting emerald knights who guarded their borders with jealousy, rebuking all efforts at trade or civilized discourse. Dark rumors spread in the lands that bordered the Dales, whispers of humans captured and sacrificed to elven gods. And then came the attack by the elves on the defenseless village of Red Crossing. The Chantry replied with the exalted march of the Dales, and the era of the Elven Kingdom came to an end. Halemshiral was utterly destroyed, the elves driven out, scattered, left to survive on goodwill alone. From Ferelden, Folklore and History by Sister Petrine, Chantry Scholar. Now this is the fascinating part about who writes the history. We weren't there, man. We don't know. This guy has one story. This other Chantry Scholar has another one. They're going to blame each other for what happened. And it's written in the history books. And how are you supposed to know what was true and what wasn't? It makes you wonder what actually happened, and unless you were there, you have no idea. And that's a gray area a lot of people don't like to sit in. Most people like to choose sides as it relates to history. Bianca, thank you for the 19 months. I appreciate that so much. You rock. The Dalish elves see themselves as true elves. What's your opinion of that? That's a construct, not a truth. And all that seems to be doing is sowing seeds of discord between themselves and city elves. So, don't know that... I mean, purity is a weird concept as it relates to, like, living things.
I'm sorry, but I must attend to our ailing fallen.
And they're struggling. Alright, who's this?
I greet you, stranger. It is good to see another elf, even if you are not one of the wandering clans. I trust my people have not been too harsh in their treatment of you.
This guy's the voice of a Hanar in Mass Effect. I love hearing it. Like, you can hear all the BioWare voice actors in here. I hear this guy talking, and all I hear is, This one wants to sell you a contraband gun. Okay, back into Dragon Age. It's good to see another elf. That's cool. Thanks for acknowledging me, bro. I hope my people have not been too harsh in their treatment of you. This is a way for me to acknowledge that I haven't been treated super well, while also showing that I have empathy for why. So I don't mind. I understand. That acknowledges that I have not been super fond. Granted, I think most people have been cool with us. Like, people have been quite accommodating. The guy at the campfire, a little questionable, but I get it.
That is very generous of you. Most would assume we are unkind as a rule, and that is not the case. Especially not to a Grey Warden. But we have lost much, and it is easy to forget simple niceties at such a time. I understand you will search for the wolves in the Brazilian forest. I would join you, but Zathrian has forbidden me.
Forbidden you?
We are banned from entering the forest now. I have more cause than most, but I will not disobey my keeper.
Why do you want to go there?
I suppose there's no harm in telling a fellow elf, but surely you have greater concerns than any problem of mine, no?
I asked. I don't ask questions I don't want the answer to, brother.
Well, perhaps you could help me with it. I would certainly appreciate anything you could do. My wife Denilah and I both fought the werewolves in the ambush. She was injured so gravely, the curse spread rapidly in her. Zathrian fought hard to ease her pain, but there was little he could do. And though he says that Denilah is dead, he will not let me see her body. I am beginning to believe she became a werewolf, and that it is being kept from me so I do not go chasing after her. If I could just know if Denilah is alive, or what happened to her, then I could be at peace.
Oh, man. Okay. Whoa. Perhaps I could convince Zathrian to tell you the truth?
No. It would be very rude to accuse the Keeper of lying. I know he means well. I just need to know. One way or another. If you were in the forest, perhaps you might come across her. Alive or dead. Any news would be better than none. And in return, I would be happy to gift you an amulet made by our craftsman. It may fetch you some coin in the human lands.
Jesus, some of these dialogue options, man. As you probably did. That's your idea of a reward? Fuck your wife. No, come on, man. I'll see what I can do.
Since we seem to be heading into the forest anyhow, that does seem to be the right thing to do.
Wow.
You are most kind.
Well, you really can be a dick in this game.
Please, should you come across my wife, return and tell me.
This one will give you an amulet. Alright, yeah, I can do that. No problem, man. I'm gonna take your bow, though. No, I'm not. I don't really care about bows. Man, this camp's got a lot of people in it.
What are you doing? You've warped the wood completely. Did you leave it out in the rain?
No, Master Ferrothorn. I think I just used too much heat.
You're not smelting ore like a Durgenlin. This is living wood. It requires patience and delicate hands, not more heat.
My actions bring me sorrow, Master Verithorn.
And so they should. Truly the art will be lost to us forever at this rate. Throw away your dead wood and start anew, and I shall speak to our guest. Now then, please forgive my distraction, stranger. Is there something that you need?
What better way to facilitate skill development than to shame somebody for screwing up? I truly believe in situations where you have like master and apprentice, that if an apprentice is struggling, particularly early on, a teacher should look at that as a reflection of the way in which they have taught that person, as opposed to a reflection of that person's skill. Certainly there are people who have more natural affinity for certain things. I don't know the context of these two's relationship. Maybe this is the 80th time that guy's used too much heat on wood and this guy's getting frustrated. But if it's not, I really hope that this guy can kind of come to a point where he realizes that learning more about why that guy is making mistakes and getting back into a zone of proximal development as it relates to scaffolding is going to be a better way of handling that guy's skill development than just shaming him and sending him back to the bench. There is a tendency sometimes for instructors to believe that the people they're teaching should already possess the skills that they're teaching them, and if that's the perspective you bring as a teacher, you are starting with a terrible foundation. You involve yourself a lot at the beginning until people show that they're starting to develop the skills, and you slowly remove yourself from that skill development until they're able to do the thing unaided. Non-judgmental repetition is a huge component of learning. It's an incredibly important part because with learning comes anxiety. With learning comes failure. Learning is in some ways a failure-driven process. You take the feedback from that, you learn from it, and you do something differently going forward. This guy being a bit more warm and understanding and empathic toward that guy's skill development, I think would go a long way. That said, I also do believe in gatekeeping. If it reaches a threshold where it becomes very clear that this guy is not capable of performing the skill and is causing all sorts of problems, more problems than he's able to fix, then perhaps we guide him in a different direction, right? Like there is a line there where you do have to be like, okay, maybe this isn't for you. So like that's why I said, if it's like the 90th time, okay. But at that point, frustratingly sending him back to the bench then is sending him to his own futility, as opposed to like, all right, maybe we need to find something that you're a bit more naturally good at, as opposed to continuing to force you to work with wood. I realize I just went on a very long diatribe about a very small interaction there, but learning is something that I am incredibly passionate about. It's what my dissertation is literally about, how to facilitate meaningful learning experiences. So when I see stuff like that, I go pew and just like tunnel vision on it, because you see this a lot in instructor-learner dynamics, and it is on the instructor often to do a better job than it is to blame their students for being crappy. Yeah, I mean, that would probably be the better approach to Presso, is to sit down and, like, again, figure out, how did this guy miss the mark? Where did this fall apart, and how can we figure that out? And yes, I was a professor, sawed off. I was an assistant professor. I've taught at the undergrad and graduate level, so. What do you make here?
I'm the clan's craftsmaster. It's my responsibility to learn what I can of the ancient elven arts of shaping wood and ore. In truth, we Dalish know little of the art compared to what we once did. And even what we know has taken us many lifetimes to achieve. There is wood that, if treated properly, is as hard as steel but far lighter. It grows only in this forest. Ironbark. The keeper has forbidden us from entering the forest to collect the wood. This means I cannot make our finest crafts for years to come.
Okay, what if I found some for you?
I would be hesitant to ask it of you, but if you should come across ironbark, I suppose there would be no harm in gathering some. It is blue and very distinctive. You can only harvest the bark which has fallen off the tree from age. If you find some, bring it to me, and I will craft it for you.
Cool. You have a location in Discord or somewhere I can ask you a private mental health question. There's a questions for Dr. Mick tab in the Discord. You can also DM me. I will tell you up front though, I can't promise you that I can answer your question because I can only provide professional advice to people who are my clients. You're welcome to ask, but no guarantees I can answer. Also, General Andrews, good to see you, buddy. What kind of item would you make?
I excel in making blades from the iron bark, or perhaps a breastplate. Provided there's enough wood, that is.
Porque no los dos. I'll take a look.
That would please me. So long as our hunters come first.
Okay. Can I barter?
I am no merchant, but let us trade. Perhaps there's something here which will be of value to you.
I'd love me a shield if I could get an iron bark shield, but... what do you got? What do I got here? Dalish gloves. Armor. Elf rope. Belt. Nothing right now. Dagger, one-handed gray iron. Perhaps, maybe... Liliana could maybe use that? Enchanted dagger. Also, she probably could use maybe a little something better than what she's currently wearing. I don't want to tire her out, though, if I can help it. Give her some Dalish boots. That's not as good. Enchanted dagger. That's exactly what she's currently holding. What's Zevron got? Crow dagger. I think it's pretty decent. Zevron, what are you wearing? Leather armor. Studded leather armor. Let's go ahead and switch you up here, buddy. Yeah, there we go. Good shit. Alright. God, there's more. Oh my god, this camp's huge, dude. I did not realize how big this was.
Anathara, Grey Warden.
Gotta hand it to BioWare. They didn't pull any punches here. Who this?
Who comes? Oh, I beg your pardon, stranger. I was so busy attending to the Hala, I did not hear your approach.
It's a Hala.
They are the noble beasts that pull our Aravel. What humans call land ships. They are our companions and our guides.
Make them sound like friends.
That is exactly what they are, in fact. We ride the Hala, but never with reins or a saddle. It is the Hala who decide where to lead us, and our privilege that they take our Aravel with them. In return, it's the herder's job to speak to the Hala and care for their needs. It's a bond of friendship, and not servitude.
I like that. Why have you separated this one from the others?
I fear she may have been bitten during the werewolf attack. I have tried speaking with her, but she is too agitated for me to understand. The curse would not affect her as it would us, but it would still be lethal. And it may prove contagious to the other Hala as well. I can find no wound on her, but if she's truly ill, then I will have to put her out of her misery. For her sake, as well as that of the others.
Damn, that's a hard decision. I'm sorry to hear that.
I wish I could calm her enough to speak with her. We have lost so many of our hunters. I would hate to lose one of our Hala as well.
Anything I could... Who are you? Is there anything I could do to help?
I don't know. Do you have any skills that might help her? If you do, I would be grateful.
I'm skilled in the art of persuasion. Pretend to examine. Survival. Examine.
And? What do you think?
I can't tell.
I am glad you attempted it regardless.
Perhaps I could try to calm it?
No. No, I'm sorry. She isn't calming any more around you than she is for me.
Alright, I'm sorry, man. I tried my best.
I know. It was kind of you to try.
Would you like me to kill her quickly for you?
No. That would not be right. When the time comes, then I will do it myself. It is my duty, as both master herder and as her friend. She shall take her last breath knowing she was always safest in my care.
Except for that time that you let a werewolf bite her, but I'm not going to bring that up right now while you're struggling, okay? I just want to let you know I've killed children, so if you need help, I can help out. It's Roki. Thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate that. Alright, Aravils. The Dalish, who band together in small groups of blood relatives, travel in ornately carved wagons known as Aravel, drawn by large white stags called Hala. The Aravel are a unique sight, beautiful in their sweeping curvature and adorned with broad hoods and bright silken clothes that flap in the wind, often displaying the noble banners that once flew over that family's house. Most humans refer to the Aravel as land ships, for in a strong wind it can often appear as if the elves travel in long boats with sails high overhead to announce their arrival, or to warn others away. The Hala are unique to the elves, and any but elven handlers consider them ornery and almost impossible to train. To the Dalish, they are noble beasts, superior in breeding to the horse. Certainly most humans would agree that the Hala are as beautiful as the elves themselves. The fact that many imperial nobles maintain a bounty on hollow horns that find their way into Tevinter is an affront that the Dalish consider unforgivable. Fair enough. Few among us claim to have seen the Dalish land ships up close. Any human who sees them on the horizon does well to head the other way. Few Dalish clans take kindly to humans intruding on their camps, and more than one tale tells of troublemaking humans who found themselves mercilessly filled with Dalish arrows. From In the Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. It's fascinating, right? When the humans write about the elves, they talk about the elves as if they're the ones that are hostile. The Dalish talk about the humans as if they're the ones that are hostile. Is there a mercy-killing theme in Dragon Age Origins? I don't know that I'd call it a theme, Kareen. But there have been moments where that's been the case. Hala. No creature is more revered by the Dalish than the Hala. No other animal has a god of its own. These white stags are much larger than ordinary deer, and the Dalish Hala keepers carve their antlers as they grow, making them curve into intricate designs. In ancient times, these stags bore elven knights into combat, but since the fall of the Dales, they are used less as mounts and more to pull the Aravels. Ooh, and another one of these.
Good going.
Hilanane, mother of the Hala. They say Hilanane was one of the people in the days before Arlathan, and the chosen of Andruil the Huntress. She was very beautiful, with hair of snowy white, and as graceful as a gazelle. She kept always to Andruil's ways, and Andruil favored her above all others. One day, while hunting in the forest, Hilanane came across a hunter she did not know. At his feet lay a hawk, shot through the heart by an arrow. Hilanane was filled with rage, for the hawk, along with the hare, is an animal much beloved of Andruil. Hilanane demanded that the hunter make an offering to Andruil in exchange for taking the life of one of her creatures. The hunter refused, and Hilanane called upon the goddess to curse him so that he could never again hunt and kill a living creature. Hilanane's curse took hold, and the hunter found that he was unable to hunt. His prey would dart out of sight, and his arrows would fly astray. His friends and family began to mock him for his impotence. For what use is a hunter who cannot hunt? Ashamed, the hunter swore he would find Hilanane and repay her for what she had done to him. He found Helene while she was out on a hunt with her sisters and lured her away from them with lies and false words. He told Helene that he had learned his lesson and begged her to come with him so she could teach him to make a proper offering to Andruil. Moved by his plea, Helene followed the hunter, and when they were away from all her sisters, the hunter turned on Helene. He blinded her first and then bound her as one would bind a kill fresh from the hunt. But because he was cursed, the hunter could not kill her. Instead, he left her for dead in the forest. And Helene prayed to the gods for help. He prayed to Elgar'nan for vengeance, to Mother Mythal to protect her, but above all, she prayed to Andruil. Andruil sent her hairs to Helene, and they chewed through the ropes that bound her. But Helene was still wounded and blind, and could not find her way home. So Andruil turned into a beautiful white deer, the first Hala, and Helene found her way back to her sisters and led them to the hunter, who was brought to justice. And since that day, the Hala have guided the people, and have never led us astray, for they listen to the voice of Helene. From the tale of Helene as told by Yisharel, keeper of the Ralphrian clan of the Dalish Elves. That was cool. I like that story. Badass. Okie dokie. I think we have gotten what we need to get here. So we got to find Delilah. We need Ironbark, and then greater survivor skill would likely be needed to tell for certain. Well, bummer. All right, let's go kill some werewolves, I guess. Seems like a useful thing to do.
I trust there are no hard feelings about my questioning of you when you arrived. We Dalish must protect ourselves from trouble at all times.
Do others truly trouble you so much?
These days, very little to tell the truth, for we've established a fearsome reputation amongst the Shemlin. We must still be vigilant, however. Not that I would expect an outsider to understand, but there you have it. We do what we must. You might have just told me you were a Grey Warden and saved me the grief, though I suppose I can hardly blame your caution.
Thank you.
But I wish you good fortune with your task. Dareth Shiral.
Appreciate that little bit of empathy there at the end.
You know, Alistair, Antiva has a long tradition of royal bastards.
You don't say.
Oh, yes. They've led wars to claim the throne. Some of them have become kings. In fact, I'd say the current royal line in Antiva stems from bastard blood several times over.
Well, aren't you just chock full of useless trivia today?
Sadly, whenever a royal bastard rears their head in public and declares themselves, it often goes poorly for them.
Let me guess. They get assassinated.
Only the very popular ones.
And the unpopular ones?
Well, they get by somehow, I'm sure. There was one fellow who did quite well working as a prostitute based on his uncanny resemblance to the king. Charged a fortune.
Couldn't afford him, I take it.
That cynicism will serve you well, my friend. Hold on to it.
Oh, they're going to be fun. Gotta love that. You're a sex worker that looks like the king, so you just charge a king's ransom so people can fantasize about the king. Oh, I love it. Okay. We go to the forest. Oh man, that was awesome. Yes, I'd like to go to the Brazilian outskirts, please. Or is that where I am? Yeah, I'm at the encampment. What are we doing? doing something wrong here? I would like to leave. And I would like to go here. Perhaps I go to the other exit. Okay, let's try it. Would have made a killing on OnlyFans, yeah. Alright, let's try this. There we go. Okay, cool. West Brazilian Forest. I like that Zevron's got... carries sword and dagger? I wonder if maybe I give him just 2 daggers. Instead of a long sword. Yeah, let's do that. Enchanted dagger. There we go. Double daggers, my friend. Werewolves afoot? Oh, nope, just... Well, this is a lot of wolves. It's a lot of wolves. Combat in this game is loud, man. Holy shit! Alistair is real tanky right now. Yep. God, wolves and werewolves. That's,
Nothing like a brush with death to make you not like death much.
There's got to be a way to turn down. I actually wonder if the my sense is that the sound effects are not tied to the fighting, it's the dialogue, which is kind of frustrating, but I'm gonna do what I can to try to keep the volume down during fighting moments, because Jesus Christ are they loud. If there's a mod that lowers the sound during fighting, I would be very curious to know what it is. So if anybody's got suggestions for that. By the way, as we romp through this forest of werewolves, I would just like to say I really appreciate y'all being here. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far, and those of you that are here live on Twitch, thanks for keeping me company and chatting with me while we play this. I have enjoyed reading chat. It's a lot of fun to play these games, but having y'all along with me makes it even better. So thank you so much for all of your support. A bear, the great bear. Whoa. Look at that big old bear. Uh-oh. Is that guy's wife's remains going to be here? Oh. Oh, no. It's a corpse. Engraved silver bowl. A valuable silver bowl engraved with a pattern of vines and leaves. Can I have the armor? He ain't using it. Oh, good. More werewolves. What up? Oh.
The Watchwolves have spoken truly, my brothers and sisters. Another of the Dalish come to put us in our place. Come to make us pay for our attack.
Whoa. First of all, how freaking cool do these guys look? Come on. I am no servant of the Dalish. I don't want to be hostile to these guys if I can help it. Okay, they did attack me first when I walked into the forest, but we're going to play this cool. Control the engagement by staying calm. That's an important thing here. I am no servant of the Dalish. Don't put me with them.
Do you take us for fools? We know you come from their camp outside the forest. No doubt the old keeper himself sent you. You speak to Swift Runner. I lead my cursed brothers and sisters. Turn back now. Go back to the Dalish and tell them that you have failed. Tell them we will gladly watch them suffer the same curse we have suffered for too long. We will watch them pay.
Dude, I'd prefer to talk to you if you're willing to do it. I'm not... like, tell me what's up. So they're talking about this curse that they're suffering. They're probably trying to do their best to make it go away in some way. But let me see if he's willing to talk to me.
Was it not Zathrian who sent you? He wishes only our destruction, never to talk.
I could believe that. Is there no way this could be resolved peacefully? Let me try this. Tell me more about the curse.
You know nothing, do you? Nothing of us, and even less of those you serve. You are a fool, and we are done talking. Run from the forest while you can. Run to the Dalish and tell them they are doomed.
Brother, come on. Work with me here, dude. I understand his aggression here. I do. Because to this point, every single elf that has come into the forest has been a hunter that was specifically trying to kill them and to kill their leader. So his hostility makes a lot of sense. My entire goal here is to try to de-escalate. However, I can't force him to see reason. I can't force him to let his guard down. I can understand why he wouldn't let his guard down and still protect myself in the process. Because what he's actually doing at this point by continuing to be aggressive despite my efforts to de-escalate is he is perpetuating the preconceived notion that I came into the forest with. And if he's going to take a leadership role, he would do well to know that. So he can still be guarded. But maybe we can still talk about it. Right? Like, I don't want to fight, man, but I'm not going to back down here. Because if you're going to tell me that you're hostile and that they're doomed, that's not great. I need the Dalish in the fight against the Blight, although you guys could certainly be helpful, too.
I do not wish to fight you, but our enemy has sent you to us, and now you force our hand.
Oh.
Come, brothers and sisters! Swift Runner calls you to
All right,
battle!
I tried.
Drive this invader from our midst!
I tried. They attacked me.
Enough! The forest has eyes of its own, and it shall deal with you. You have been warned.
Go back to the Dalish camp and tell them they're doomed. Never mind, I'm gonna attack you for trying to have a peaceful discourse with me. Not a good look, werewolves. I could have turned around. What's to say I wouldn't have turned around and gone to the Dalish men like, yo, man, those are scary as shit. Don't go in there. You didn't give me a chance. And by the way, the game's not frozen. I paused it. But, like, come on, man. They didn't even give me a chance to advocate for them. Like, I could have totally gone to them and been like, hey, Yeah, don't do there. Don't go in there. You guys hear that? Sounds like somebody's like singing or something. Maybe it's just the wolves. Studded leather armor. Across this river. That is correct, Sawdoff. You can't control other people's actions. You can only control your response. I mean, I did my best. He attacked me. If you're going to attack me, I'm going to defend myself. So, you know, it's interesting how antagonistic that was on their behalf. I mean, I understand that I came barging into the forest. I understand why he's afraid. I told him I don't necessarily work for the Dalish. I tried to have him speak with me. He wasn't willing to do that. And Tenosis, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I have a Nexus account, so if you just kind of point me in the right direction, I will download it. Oh, what's up, fellas?
This should be fun!
He hit. I really.
Nice try!
Work well together.
Yes.
I mean, they gang up on me because I do aggro them, but jeez. Templar purges the area of magic, removing all dispellable effects from those nearby. Weapon and shield. Character lashes out with his shield 3 times. Character has learned to compensate for the weight of his shield in combat and no longer suffers attack penalty when using shield defense. Do Templar. Ooh, I have 3. Master combat training, cool. That seems good. I've got 2 skill points to use. Character quickly strikes the target for 4 times, but dealing reduced damage with each hit. If the character has shield mastery, the damage from each hit increases. Shield cover. Warrior shield provides a greater chance of deflecting missile attacks. Shield tactics, shield mastery. Character has mastered the use of shield. Receives additional benefits when using shield. See, I need to put some money into. I need to put some talents into that. Okay. Cool. We probably have more that we have to fight. Yeah. He says as he immediately draws his weapon. Oh, whoa, whoa, what is that? What? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Got Darkspawn in here now too? Wow.
Yes.
Alright, I'm gonna aggro him. Because he's gonna mess everybody else up big time. Oh no! There we go. Holy shit. He totally messed up Zevran. Wow.
Right, man.
Oh boy. Come on, Alistair. We can do this, buddy. Wow. Holy crap.
Injured. As in me. As in now.
Yeah, that was okay.
Is it just me, or did I do really badly back there?
Why did the Darkspawn are just like, nah, we're not gonna worry about these werewolves, and the werewolves are totally fine with the Darkspawn apparently? Oh, son of a bitch.
I'm off.
At least we're getting stronger here. Yeah, dude, I'm playing on easy. This game, I don't know how people play this on the hardest difficulty. I really don't. This game is, like, crazy in terms of its difficulty. Alright. Go down here. Look in the rubble. Painted skyball, oxbone. What have we here? Gravestone. You see a tombstone before you, it gives you an uneasy feeling. Leave it alone.
All right.
Interesting. How do I get down there? Perhaps later I go down there. Whoa! It's an ent! What? Oh! Hostile tree!
I never liked this part. Let's end this.
Treebeard!
Going.
Fallen tree. Ooh, get some iron bark. Nice. Love that. Alright, I don't want to go this way yet. I want to figure out how to get down below. Oh yeah, here we go. I can't say I was expecting that either. I mean, the werewolf did say that the forest would fight back.
Sometimes. Defend yourself.
Okay. It's going okay. We must cut down the mightiest tree in the forest. Whee! A herring! Dung! We shall say "ni" again to you if you do not appease us.
Grey Wardens!
at any point in time, these trees, they'll jump out at you. Oh, God.
All right.
All right.
A bit more dying, please. Grab some glory.
Good shot.
Yeah, I would have loved a warning from the elves that this could happen. Absolutely. Like, hey, by the way, in addition to all those werewolves you gotta fight, there's some real hostile trees in there. Like, I know what you're thinking. Trees just kind of stand there. Maybe they bear nuts and fruit, but there's some real rowdy trees in there. And they'll get you, man. They'll get you if you don't pay attention. I would have liked that. I would have enjoyed that. And some of them talk to you, apparently. Grand Oak. Okay. Look, I want to talk... Okay. Oh! God, dude. We all just lay there. What's the point of knocking us down if you're not going to attack us while we're down? Just so you can evaluate how strong you are? Please, tell your friends to stop attacking us.
What manner of beast be thee that comes before this elder tree?
This is so badass. Can't you see me? Wait. You're not gonna attack me, are you?
Ah, thou speakest of the others, how filled they are with hate. I apologize on their behalf. They cannot control their fate. Allow me a moment to welcome thee. I am called the Grand Oak, sometimes the Elder Tree.
Wow.
And unless thou thinkst it far too soon, might I ask of thee a boon?
Literally the coolest thing that we have come across in this entire game. This guy is awesome. He looks awesome. He talks awesome. He speaks in rhymes. This is... Mwah, I love this guy. This is badass. Well, I'd like to know more of this forest.
I can only speak to what a tree may see. It may not help you, but it is enough for me.
Okay. What happened here to make the forest like this?
A great war, perhaps. I cannot tell. I was not here when it befell. But many deaths here, all the same. And with the deaths, the spirits came. The spirits entered corpse and tree, and most went mad, as thou canst see. The forest had a spirit of its own, from back when its first seeds were sown. Perhaps she died of grief that day, or perhaps she simply went away. Or perhaps the wares are the ones to blame, for the day she left is the day they came.
Oh my god, I love this so much. I love this so much. I don't understand.
I speak as clearly as I see. Plainer than this, I cannot be.
Why is this called the Brazilian Forest?
That is but a human name. One placed upon this land their claim. A claim they stole from ancient elves, whom they first killed, and were killed themselves.
There were elves who lived here? Okay, maybe this guy knows the history. He's a tree. He's been here a long time. So he's saying the humans... like, what bias does this guy have? Is this tree like, nah, man, I'm a human advocate? Nah, I mean, this guy's been here in the forest. He's like, nah, man, this was like for the elves. Humans came in here and took it. There were elves that lived here?
It was the elves who planted the seeds, raised the forest, saw to its needs. But that was all so long ago. That they are dead is all I know.
Anything around here of note?
Most of what was is overgrown, leaving only broken stone. Perhaps some ruins remain free of rot. I know not where, I see them not.
Where can I find Witherfang's lair? His subordinate werewolves, to me, have not been fair.
In the center of the forest the wares do dwell, or so go the tales my fellows tell. But they cannot be followed there. The forest doth protect the wares.
In the center of the forest the wares do dwell, or so the tales my fellows tell, but they cannot be followed there. The forest doth protect the wares. Ah. Why do these trees protect them?
Perhaps wares use magic to command the trees. All I know is they move as they please.
Is there another way to get to the center of the forest? Or shall we continue to talk? Because of all the lore, you're the lorest.
Perform the boon as I ask, and I shall reward thee for the task. I have but one desire, to solve a matter very dire. As I slept one early morn, a thief did come and steal an acorn.
What's so special about that?
All I have is my being, my seed. Without it, I am alone indeed. I cannot go and seek it out, yet I shall die if left without.
Oh, damn. I could look for your acorn. What's in it for me? I'll be honest. I've yet to ever help a tree.
My wooden skin has some magic, see? And part of it I can give to thee.
Ooh. What good would your wood do me? Perhaps I'd be as strong as you, the tree.
The forest would see thee as a tree, and so no harm would come to thee.
That sounds like a fine reward. A very cool mission where I won't get bored.
Wilt thou then perform the task? Wilt thou save me as I ask?
Very well. I will help you. And now with this task in hand, I bid adieu.
Go to the east to find this man. I shall await. Do what thou can.
I love it. I'll find your acorn. I'll do it. Fantastic. Absolutely love it. Campsite appears remarkably intact. The tents and bedrolls are covered with leaves, but are dry and whole. fire pit smokes and possesses embers, though enough to build a small flame. There are no signs of any inhabitants.
Now this is peculiar. Whoever this belonged to must have just recently abandoned it. We should be careful.
Probably right. Keep an eye out. You get no hint of danger, though it strikes you as odd that the camp is abandoned. Perhaps searching the camp will give you more clues as to the nature. Okay. You look inside the tent and are surprised by how dry and cozy it feels. It is clean but empty. What a pleasant place to rest your head. Oh, this doesn't seem good.
The elven hunters didn't set this up. How strange. And yet it all just seems so friendly.
This is bad.
I want to do nothing but remain.
No. We gotta go. It takes all your strength to step back from the tent. A wave of weariness washes through you despite your efforts to resist it. Oh, God. But I want it. But I want to know. I want to know what's happening here. Oh, this is so bad. But I'm so curious. You examine the bedroll. It looks clean and warm. You feel like you haven't slept in ages. It would be so nice to curl up and sleep. Oh, no.
You know, I feel as if I could sleep for days. Do you feel it? It's not quite right.
Oh, no. I feel it too, but we need to stay awake. Sleeping here would be bad. You turn away from the bedroll, but only reluctantly. The lure of sleep is almost overpowering. Oh boy. You examine the remains of the fire pit. It has been unattended for several hours at most. The embers draw you in, almost hypnotizing you.
I'm surprised that fire hasn't burned out. We should tend it. Is there a stick about? I'm tired.
We gotta get away from this now. Can you feel the power here? What is this? Let's try to be lucid. Unable to resist its strange siren call. Oh no! You trudge back to the tents and quickly collapse and drift off to a blissful sleep. Oh shit! Oh no, Liliana! I just kicked it in the nuts. Oh no, this is bad.
I need healing.
Oh. Okay. I'm gonna try it again.
I'm surprised that fire hasn't burned out.
Alright, let's see. We'll try it one more time. Oh, why do I have to be Liliana? It's like the worst option. Oh. Oh yeah, she's screwed. Yeah. Okay. Well. We'll come back to this camp. Oh no, as you turn to leave, you find your steps growing leaden. Fatigue tugs at your limbs and you yawn. It's been a long journey. Perhaps it's safe to rest here.
You know, if it's not the same to you, why don't we sit down for a while? Strange as it sounds, I'd rather camp here before going back out into the forest.
Oh, no. Let's not fight it. Let's turn around and see what happens. No. It's so hard to think clearly. Oh no. Oh no. It is hard to think clearly. Oh no. Oh no. Dude, we might be stuck. Oh, I hate this. Alright. Improvise. Adapt. Overcome. Oh, Lord. Okay. Kick it in the nuts.
I tried to be merciful. Alright, battle it is. On my way.
What the hell? Come on, baby. Come on. Yeah. Oh, with the shade destroyed.
To make you not like death much.
With the shade destroyed, the fog seems to lift. The camp that was here is ancient, and the remnants of the shade's victims all lie as if sleeping still.
This was a demon that fed once on travelers and remained to trap more as they passed. Like a spider in its web. Creepy.
No kidding, creepy. My God. Whoa. Alright, that was cool. That was cool! The amount of ideas in this game is awesome. You know, it's like BioWare was like, alright, think of every possible cool thing we could possibly think of. Everything. And let's throw it in a game. I love it. Like the concept of like this camp for weary travelers, and it's this shade. Come on, that's so cool. So cool. Look at all these remains. Oh my God. Ailish gloves. Let's see. Who could benefit from wearing those Dalish gloves? I wonder. Probably... Everon. And then Liliana can have those. So cool.
Going.
Oh God. Oh.
Defend yourself. Now this should be fun. You are the bloody one, you are.
This never goes like I planned.
Come here, fight me.
Defend yourself!
Okay. Ooh, Liliana deserves a Medal of Honor? No kidding, man. See if that shade had anything on it. Maybe it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, here we go.
Huh.
Oh, not really anything of note. That's a bummer. Alright, so we could go south exit to East Forest, north exit to East Forest, Dalish camp. So I guess maybe, well, let's go out maybe this way. Ooh. Look at all these holla hanging out. Holla, holla, y'all, holla. Holla. At you, holla.
All right.
Alright, that's enough of that. Let me guess. Hostile tree? Ah, yes, hostile tree. Oh, no.
It is done.
An ancient shade preying on travelers for presumably centuries. All it's gotten is 30 silver for its trouble, right? What the hell was the shade even going to spend it on? Okay, here we are. Oh. Which way do we go? Sure there's going to be werewolves in here somewhere. Yep. What up? Oh boy. Oh shit. I didn't drink it fast enough. Oh crap. Alistair. Time, buddy.
Now we play a little.
I'm trying to be polite to grandmothers.
Okay. I have awakened. Who is this? Oh, Delilah did get turned into a werewolf. Oh no.
Please. Help. Listen. I am not the mindless beast I appear to be.
Oh. What happened?
I am cursed. Turned into this creature. The curse, it burns in me. I fled into the forest. The werewolves, they took me in, but I had to return. I had to.
Careful. These werewolves might have laid a trap for us or something. You never know.
Fair.
You are an elf, but not one of the Dalish. I was until my change. Have you seen my clan?
The Keeper is the one who sent me here.
The Keeper sent you? Then you seek Witherfang.
What makes you think that?
I know why you seek him, but there's no time to explain. You must listen. My name is Delilah. My husband, he is called Athras. Please, you must bring him a message.
Oh.
Oh, the poor woman. She's in such pain.
The staff I wear. Bring it to him. Tell him I love him. Tell him I am dead and with the gods. I beg you.
Man, oh. These werewolves are really suffering then. Oh my god. Spoke with him. Oh, I don't know how much time we have. I spoke with him. He worries about you.
I want him to be at peace. He is a good man. Please do not Let him suffer, thinking of me. Oh, the pain. The curse is fire in my blood. Please, hand it for me. Hand it quickly.
Oh boy. Maybe she can help me. Oh boy. Oh boy. If she can, I mean, if she turns, I'll kill her anyway. So I feel like I've got one opportunity to take a shot at this. Please, you gotta help me.
I will tell you what I know if you promise to end my pain.
Yes, I will.
Then know this. The werewolves are no longer violent animals. They have overcome the curse like I have. There is a ruin in the center of the forest. You may find them there. They will think you mean to kill them. I can tell you no more. The pain, it is too much. Please fulfill your promise.
You got it.
Gods bless you.
Wow. That was the most well voice acted part of this entire game so far, and this is a game with great voice acting. Just a quick shout out to the actress who did that. That was unbelievable. Like, you could just feel the pain. I have absolutely no qualms with following through on that request. I truly believe that all of us would love the idea that we get a choice of how we die. And if you're suffering that badly and there's really no hope there, and for you the greatest relief you could possibly have from how horrible that affliction is to have somebody end it quickly, I mean, that to me was an easy request to fulfill. I appreciate that she gave it a shot. Now, it is interesting that we got that little nugget of information there, that the werewolves are not necessarily just lost beasts anymore, that they have overcome the affliction, but it's going to be really hard to persuade them. I think that's what I'm most worried about, is how do I work this? Damn. That just, goddamn, that's rough. So, I mean, I guess I'm thinking about, like, okay, so what are the implications of the fact that the werewolves have overcome the curse? I see, you know, Dead Snark, I kind of agree with you, right? That, like, what that means is that these werewolf attacks are potentially coordinated. And intentional, beyond just. I guess we did hear them talking earlier. It's just interesting that, like, what essentially Denialo just said is that that's not like normal werewolf behavior, because we haven't seen a werewolf. I don't know anything about him. So, as far as I was concerned, when we talked to those werewolves, speaking of the importance of first impressions, speaking to those werewolves when we first came up to them, I would have figured they all talk like that. But Delilah is saying, no, 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 no. The way that the werewolves are now is not what we thought they were when we were going into the woods to hunt them. And potentially that means they could either be reasoned with, or it means that they have their own agenda that they're trying to act on here. Like, that adds a really significant layer of complexity, knowing that the werewolves are a little bit more sentient. But again, she just said, though, that she's being taken over by the rage and the pain of it. So it makes me wonder, are these guys controlling that? Are they just being duped into... I mean, there's so many questions. There's so many questions right now about the werewolves that I hope we get more information on here as we go through this. This is deep stuff, man. Wild Sylvan. For demons crossing over into our world, mankind is not always the preferred prey. Possessing humans means risking encounters with powerful mages and Templars, as well as other complications. Some demons find it far easier to seek out animals or even plants, assuming that these will make as suitable a host as a human. Those that possess trees are known as Wild Sylvans. Generally, only demons of rage, the weakest of the demon hierarchy, will become a Sylvan. Once they do, they must spend a great deal of time twisting and molding the host in order to make it mobile. And once they have, the Sylvan is a powerful and deadly opponent. Other, more intelligent spirits have also been known to become Sylvans and are generally much less violent, but these are rare. Slow but immensely powerful, Wild Sylvans prefer to lay in ambush, waiting for a victim to become lost, tired, or trapped before closing in for the kill. They hide among regular trees, nearly undetectable until they begin to move and to reach. When they do come to life, as some travelers say, they stand tall, roots forming into legs and feet and branches stretching out into lashing arms. When not presented with a living target, however, it has been noted that Sylvans often fall into a form of dormancy, perhaps brought on by the nature of their tree host. While mobile, they normally return to wherever they were rooted once their prey has been killed. For both these reasons, a forest that has Sylvans within can become incredibly dangerous to pass through for very long periods of time. Werewolf. And the Dane he stood his ground, the fanged beast approached. He saw the rage within its eyes, the wolf that once was there, the sword he raised, merciful death be praised, to the Maker went his prayer. The popular telling of Dane and the Werewolf, a legend of Ferelden, circa 450 Black. Ferelden lore is full of instances where these creatures have plagued the countryside. Wolves possessed by rage demons and transformed into humanoid monsters with incredible speed and strength, able to spread a curse to those they bit that would drive them mad with unthinking fury. When in this enraged state, a human host can likewise become possessed and be transformed into a feral wolf-like beast. Tales differ on these werewolves of human origin, some claiming that their transformation into a bestial form happens uncontrollably. Some claim the transformation is irreversible. As is often the case with demonic tales, both versions were most likely true at some point. The ability of normal dogs to detect a werewolf, even when it's in a human guise, is what first led Fereldans to adopt dogs as indispensable companions in every farmhold. The alliance between humans and regular wolves is the subject of popular Ferelden folktale Dane and the Werewolf. The actual hero Dane led a crusade to eliminate the werewolf threat during the early Black Age. And while werewolves have never assumed the same prominent sense, there have still been reports of individual packs lurking in remote forests. In recent years, some have even been reported to have developed an uncanny willpower and intelligence, though why this is still so unknown. A ghoul. What the blight does not destroy, it corrupts. Any creature infected with the darkspawn taint that does not have the good fortune to die outright becomes a ghoul, a twisted shadow of itself. The name originally comes from men, whether human, dwarven, or elven, who have become tainted, usually while being held as a captive food source by the darkspawn. They would turn cannibal, preying on other captives, slaves to the will of the archdemon driven mad by pain. During a blight, the corruption of the darkspawn spreads through the wilder areas of Thetis and infects the animals found there. This produces grotesque enraged bears called Berescarn, as well as blight wolves. Fortunately, ghouls rarely survive their corruption for long. Love the Codex, giving us all that cool-ass info on all this stuff. The amount of depth here is wild. Now, werewolves being the product of demonic possession is interesting. Makes me wonder if they're still demons when we're interacting with them, or like, are we dealing with people who've been like, there's some real layering to that, because if we find these werewolves in the center, there's a chance that they are demons that are not our friends. These demons have shown us to be nothing but a pain in the ass in this game. More bears. Okie dokie.
Okay. Still alive? Yes.
Ready.
It's going.
Oh, there's another ogre down in there. Alright, before we go to the ogre, I want to check out the other pathways. Hear that little ogre guy stomping around. Oh, 3 of them? Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Have at you then.
Continue to take a defensive stance. Oh, shit. Oh, boy.
I'm off.
This is gonna be rough.
All right.
Come on, Alistair. It's on us, buddy. It's wild to think that these Sylvans... So these Sylvans are just demons in tree form. Oh, no. How is this guy not dead? What? Wow. Okay. Yeah, oh my gosh. Can we sneak by you guys? Maybe not, like, fight you, because you're, like, really strong, and, don't really want to deal with you. Perhaps there is no way around this.
Time for more practice.
Mythos Blessing Shield. Oh, okay, come with me. Come with me, party. Come with me. Nope. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Come on. Run. Oh, bad thing. Bad thing. Come on. Come on, Zevlin. Nope. Come on. Come on, guys. No, 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 no.
Where to?
Ah, this really gets the blood pumping.
Here! Let's end this!
I love this game.
Oh boy, Alistair, buddy. Oh jeez. This is bad.
Done.
Oh, drink. Oh man. Oh man.
You forced our hand.
I am ensnared. This is crazy. Right, there we go.
Yes.
Come on, Alistair. Drink your poultice. You too, Zevlan.
Time to dance.
God, these guys are brutal. Woo. All right, got it done.
Not pleasant.
Would love it if the Hollow would help us out, maybe, you know, come stomp on him or something. Alright, we got it done. We're good. I ate way too many poultices, though, man. Alright, all roads lead to these ruins. In we go. Actually, I'm gonna pee really quick. Be right back. Okay. No. Well, hello there, sir. That's quite the entrance.
Oh dear, oh dear. Not a werewolf and not a spirit even. What are the woods coming to?
I got some questions for you, man.
Questions, questions, always questions. They say it was questions that made me mad. Will it do the same for you? Ask a question and you'll get a question, but give an answer and you'll receive the same. Oh, I do so love to trade.
You want me to answer a question?
Wouldn't I have to ask you a question first?
Isn't that a question?
Would you know a question if it was asked?
I should certainly hope so.
No, that is not a question. And if it be an answer, it'd be an answer to a question I've not asked. Have you no sense for the rules? Come now. Will you play by the rules or not?
I see how... Okay, would you like to ask me a question?
I think it is your turn to ask, is it not?
Can you tell me about the forest?
Too many spirits, that's the problem of this forest. And all the curses and the angry wolfmen who howl enough to drive you to madness. And you yell at them, but they run and hide deep within the center of the forest, and the trees protect them. There's a way to fool the trees, of course. Trees are thick, wooden things, after all, easily fooled if you know how.
How do you fool them?
Oh my, no, that's quite a question. I think that answer deserves something a little extra first, don't you? I stole something from an oak tree some time ago, and it won't stop pestering me for it back. Would you be so good as to turn it into firewood or something equally dead?
Talking about the rhyming oak?
You know of it? Good, that makes this much easier. Yes, that's the one.
And in return, you'll help me?
I will indeed. After all, why not? It's up to you, however. Time to move on.
You want me to ask another question?
May I? Oh yes, I think I might. Now, what shall be the first? Oh yes, what is your name?
Sir Lancelot, the Brave. Mick. My name's Alfred.
So you claim. They sent you, didn't they? But you're too tricky, and you're trying to fool me. Well, I'm on to you, just so you know. But it is your turn to ask now. Ask. Ask away, I dare you.
You have the Grand Oak's acorn?
Suddenly it all becomes clear. You hear that talking tree there? It all makes sense now. As a matter of fact, yes. I do have that tree's acorn. I stole it, and it was easy. Silly tree should have locked it up tighter. If you want it, you'll have to trade me for it. And nothing from that silly tree. No leaves or branches or anything. But that's all I have to say about that. An answer for an answer. There you go.
You want me to ask another question?
May I? Oh, yes.
Or do you want to ask another question? Okay.
Where were you born?
I was born in the town of Denerim.
So you say. Fiendishly clever of you to maintain this facade for so long, but I will see through it yet. Mark my words. But it is your turn to ask now. Ask. Ask away, I dare you.
You have anything to trade?
Let's see. I'll trade you an acorn, a helmet I found, or a book I finished reading years ago, provided you have something interesting in return.
I'd like to trade for the acorn.
Oh, and what do you have to trade for the acorn?
How about some gold coin?
Coin? What possible use could I have with coin? Do you see a money changer about?
Fair enough. How about this scarf? Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. All right, hear me out. Hear me out. My guy doesn't know that we ran into his wife. And he certainly doesn't know that she gave us a scarf. The thing that he cares about is that he has answers. I have no idea what kind of sentimental value he might have for that scarf. If this scarf is going to allow me to get the acorn to talk to the elder tree, to be safer in the forest so that I can do what I need to do to get out of the werewolves, I don't think anybody is any worse for wear. So he could also say no to the scarf. I am going to leverage the dead wife's scarf for the acorn. He doesn't need proof, necessarily. He just asked me if I ran into him. I say I ran into your wife and she was dead. Again, this guy could say no to the scarf. Look, man, if I'm the guy that has to deal with the Darkspawn and bring everybody together and get the Daedalus Shelves on my side, and I gotta make some hard decisions here. The sentimental value of a scarf relative to everything else we're dealing with, when the guy doesn't know that the scarf exists. The guy has no idea that this woman would have had her scarf on her, whether she's a werewolf or not. So I gotta do this. I ran into Delilah. I showed her mercy by killing her. I'm gonna tell his wife, or I can't. She doesn't even want me to tell him that she loves him. She wants him to know that she's dead and she's with the gods. That was her request. How about this scarf?
Ooh, warm. Warm enough to keep my neck from freezing on a cold night when the mice are biting at the toes. Give me that! There. Now that's done. What else have you got on your agenda,
Boy, do you want to ask me another question?
May I? Oh, yes, I think I might. Let's see. Do you have a knowledge of the arcane arts?
Ooh, do I go quite? No, because he's answer for an answer. So no, of course not.
Oh, well, that's disappointing. But wait. What if you were lying? Ah, you thought to scamper away without suspicion, did you? Well, I'm so nice. But it is your turn to ask now. Ask. Ask away, I dare you.
You have anything to trade?
Oh, yes. Yes. I still have that old helmet and the book.
Want to trade for the helmet.
And what do you have to trade for the helmet?
How about some gold coin?
Coin?
Nope.
What possible use could
Changed my mind.
Well, that's your business then, isn't it? I still answered your question, and now it's my turn again.
Fine. Want to ask me another one?
May I? Oh, yes, I think I might. What is your relationship with your father?
My father and I get along just fine.
Interesting. Most interesting. So that means that you did indeed have a father. I knew I would trip you up sooner or later. But
Yes,
it is
you're
your
so clever.
turn to ask now. Ask.
Very clever.
Ask away. I dare you.
Who are you?
Who am I? Why do you want to know? Did they send you? Did they tell you to ask?
It's a lot of questions. You'd better have some answers.
Damnation. My own rules. Oh. Did they tell you to pretend to be an innocent stranger with a head full of fluff and nothing? I'm trickier than I look. I survive still, and the trees, they leave me be. I've won. They will never find me. Never.
I found you.
So you did. But I'm watching you. If they sent you, I'll know. But that's all I have to say about that. An answer for an answer. There you go.
All right.
Oh, I see. You're going to report to them now, are you? Fine. Goodbye.
See ya. Guy's really interesting. I like that. To play by his rules and engagement. And now, as a result, we have the acorn. It appears someone has dug a hole beneath the stump, leading to a tiny and filthy cave of sorts. Obviously, the hermit sleeps in there. There also appears to be a small cubby hole within the body of the trunk itself. It's filled with mud, twigs, and other debris.
Hold on, you. That's private property. That's an old man's home, that is. Keep out. Keep out.
That's fair. I respect his boundary on that. I wouldn't like it if somebody came along and reached into my home like that. Just blatant disregard for that man's space. Alright, I'm gonna go give the acorn to the tree because apparently I'm an asshole. On second thought, let's not go to Camelot. 'Tis a silly place. Over here.
My acorn is still gone, so I pray to thee. Hast thou any news for me?
Is this the acorn you seek? The man who stole it? Be quite meek.
My joy soars to new heights indeed. I am reunited with my seed. As I promised, here it be. I hope its magic pleases thee. Keep this branch of mine with thee, and pass throughout the forest free. I wish thee well, my mortal friend. Thou brought my sadness to an end. May the sunlight find you, thy days be long, thy winters kind, and thy roots be strong.
Thank you, tree.
Greetings to thee once again. Thou hast not yet left the forest, then?
I have not. Alright, so he gave me... What did he give me exactly? Gave me a stick. Is it this? Whatever. Having given that back to him, I actually think that's a good place for us to stop. I have to wake up early in the morning, so I think that's it. We'll end on a happy note. We gave the tree his acorn. YouTube, thank you so much for coming out for part 8. We'll go deal with whatever's going on with the werewolves in part 9. We got more forest to explore. This is a good spot for us, I think, to wrap it. So thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch the stream, to leave a like, to leave a comment, to follow me on all the social media and stuff that's down in the description. Join our Discord for awesome resources and a cool community to hang out with. If you're binging the series, I'll see you in part 9. Or if you're waiting for the next one to come out, we'll turn it around as quickly as we can. But I appreciate all of you so much, and I can't wait to catch you in part 9. So I'll see you over there.